Hi, Massachusetts gun owners. John Green from Gun Owners Action League here, ready to dispel yet another Massachusetts gun law myth. Finally, some good news. All handguns are legal for somebody with an LTC to possess in the Commonwealth. Magazine may be illegal, but the handgun is not. So let's get right into it. Massachusetts dealers have to be compliant with both statute and regulation with regard to the sale or transfer of handguns. We have statutes and regulations that we have to follow. If we don't, we can get in legal jeopardy. Those same statutes and regulations don't affect, however, the licensed LTC holder in the Commonwealth. So, as a dealer, the Attorney General has created these crazy regulations. It was actually Scott Harshbarger back in 1998 that say guns have to have certain features and they can't be used by a 5-year-old. If you transfer said gun, we can hit you with a $5,000 fine. And almost at the same time, the legislature created statutes, laws that said, okay, we as a dealer have to be able to transfer a handgun that if it drops, it doesn't go off. If we light it on fire, it doesn't go off. You can read all about the individual testing and certification requirements in the citations we'll provide for you on the next screen. Also, do note that in order for a dealer to transfer a handgun to an individual that's not on one of the approved rosters, specifically the approved firearms roster, if the dealer can prove or be satisfied that the handgun was owned on a Massachusetts license prior to 10/21 of 1998, by way of an old store receipt, maybe a reporting form. Heck, we've taken affidavits from family members. It would make them exempt from the provisions of the approved firearms roster. As far as being exempt from the Attorney General's consumer protection regulations, if the handgun was manufactured prior to 10/1 of 1998 for retail sale, it makes them exempt from those particular regulations. Do keep in mind, law enforcement are exempt from the Attorney General's consumer protection regulations. So, hey, how do we know if we can buy that gun or receive that gun from a Massachusetts dealer? It's very easy. Do all the dealers a solid. Take a look at all of these three rosters. If the firearm, i.e. handgun, is on either the Olympic competition firearms roster or the formal target shooting roster, it meets both the statute and the regulations, i.e. a dealer can transfer that to you and not be worried about any fines or jail time. If it's only on the approved firearms roster, well, that only meets the statutory requirements, does not necessarily meet the Attorney General's consumer protection regulations. So therefore, a dealer's got to do a little bit of homework to determine whether or not that handgun is compliant with the AG regs. So, how does one obtain a handgun that is not on the approved firearms roster? Hey, we have several different ways. I know that I assembled a few last summer. I was so bored with this COVID stuff. So I received the frame through a Massachusetts firearms retailer after completing the National Instant Criminal Check System. I assembled the gun and I reported it to Firearms Records Bureau option number 2, registration on their transaction portal. Maybe it was obtained through a will or a trust. Perhaps you moved in from another state. Why would you want to move in? Never mind. You moved in from another state and you brought those guns with you, perfectly legal under Chapter 140, Section 129C that covers firearms and non-large capacity rifles and shotguns. Maybe somebody had one of these firearms that they obtained way before 1998 when all this craziness happened, and they want to sell it to another duly licensed resident. So these are obviously the most common mechanisms for acquiring a handgun that is not on any of the dealer rosters. So here's a fun fact for you. We often hear people claim, oh, the handgun's on the Attorney General's approved firearms roster, or it's not on. There is no such thing. No Attorney General has put forth a list of handguns, firearms, that have in fact been certified with her office, currently her office. So correct your friends when they say it's on the AG roster, it's not on. There's no such thing. And always remember, this is not legal advice. If you do need a legal written opinion, take a look at Goal's pull-down links off the webpage and talk to one of our fine co-sponsoring attorneys. John Green from Gun Owners Action League, thanks for listening.